Thursday, June 26, 2025. It's 9 a.m. and this is a continued discussion of solid waste wages. And the last time we were going to think about how we want to go through with this and move forward on the wages. One of the instances we've had is the roads department. I asked the roads department to see if they could be here today because they've got questions regarding the difference between a CDLA, because they, one of the problems, we want to make sure that it's fair across the board.
Absolutely.
And same way with the clerk's office. So, I think the $2 an hour raises, I think we need to, flat across the board. I think we need to get with the roads department, so we match up employees so that we're not stealing employees, just like what happened with you.
Okay.
And then same way with the clerks, it's all got to kind of be the same so that we're not unfair to somebody. I know it's been the other way, that way.
That was going to be my point.
It has
we have been
been
left behind for years now.
I know, and so that's what I want to make sure, so that because we're just getting adjusted. We made these adjustments last year with the courthouse and to get everybody back on track, and we were able to do that. So I just don't want to throw a monkey in the wrench, and cause a problem. So I want to, I think we can proceed on the hiring of a long haul trucker.
Yeah, that was already approved last time. So I've already moved ahead with that.
Okay. Yeah. So this one we'll do is let's Commissioner Dose, could with the roads department and them, can you kind of facilitate or have the roads department maybe facilitate meetings together? So maybe you guys can meet together outside, see how you're.
The problem's going to be is we are on two different pay schedules.
Yeah.
That's going to be an issue.
Okay.
So, and is what I did for these wages here, I went through their employees, what their employees were making, and I matched it up skill-wise with my employees.
Okay.
And that's where I came up with these numbers.
Okay, so I thought it was a flat $2 for everybody.
No, it wasn't. No, and if you go through here, if you go through these, sorry about that, you'll see it's a couple dollars, it's $1, it's not a flat $2.
Okay. I think the challenge that Public Works had was the amount we approved last time when I'd asked you, is this about equal to the Public Works? They said was like $1 and something more an hour for that position that we approved that you hired was $1 something more an hour than their starting.
It is.
So that was a misunderstanding.
Okay, but also it's a Class A interstate. They don't require interstate for all of their Class A drivers. Ours has to. Now it's not a big difference by any means, but it is a DOT physical, and some people can't get that DOT physical.
Okay. And that's what I'd like to make sure we discuss, because we, apparently you've heard from, if roads talk to you about that, I think we need to have the discussion between, have roads here as well so that they understand, so we're not getting
creating one more problem.
So,
I can tell you the difference between the Class A is the interstate is our guys cross state lines. They have intrastates, which are in Idaho.
Which a few of their drivers do have interstate.
They do. But most of them have the in-state.
Intrastate.
And their concern was that that's really just a physical, and that they do have, some of their drivers have that. We definitely need to get the two departments together so that we're not. Our original plan a couple of years ago, we talked about bringing you guys up to equal to them. Then last meeting, we thought we were bringing up equal, and we actually put your new guy, starting guy, ahead of them. Now they're, so we
they've been ahead of us for years. I just don't. That wasn't our goal. Our goal was if that's the case, then we need to both be on the same pay schedules, so that we can be apples to apples, because right now we're not.
That's right.
being on 2 different pay schedules, what you have in front of you was the best I could
Okay.
to make us equal, except for that hiring raise, the starting rate.
Now, and then,
And that's because I believe it's harder to get that interstate license.
yeah, and with the experience, you got to have experience.
And
with
that
it, too.
that is an experienced. That's not somebody coming,
That's right.
Right.
straight. I would
Yeah.
not pay them that.
Exactly.
So
So, and that's what I remember you talking about is you have to have a lot of experience because you're going over 2 passes in the wintertime and it's
Yep.
loaded and unloaded. And
Yep.
so it's quite a bit different, so we do need seasoned drivers.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
And just for reference, we've had 3 applicants.
Okay.
One of them doesn't even qualify.
Okay.
One of them's fresh out, and one of them has some experience.
Yeah. So they have to have
Yeah.
quite a bit of
You've
You've
experience.
had 3
is
at the new rate that we,
No, just since this position has been open.
since it's been open.
And that's been what, 2.5 months, 3 months?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's no doubt that you guys are behind. The goal was to bring everybody up to something very similar, not to now create the problem with Public Works saying the same thing you guys have been saying. The goal was to try and get everybody on the same, and maybe it needs to be the same. Have you looked at that? Would one pay scale even work?
So the last I had heard was, and this was a while ago now, and honestly I don't remember who said it, but they actually were talking about the matrix that the road crew was on is a new matrix, and they developed it for them, and for whatever reason, my predecessor did not get on it because it wouldn't work for ours, because the pay raises come off of training and school, stuff like that, to where our guys wouldn't have that option.
And I think that's something we're going to have to talk about this year.
So putting us on that matrix probably isn't the correct thing.
Right.
or maybe redoing their matrix and making it more.
Because they designed that for them, so I don't know, taking them off of that is the right move either.
Yeah. Well, it's budget time, so I think we have a lot of room we could start working with. And then I would like to kind of talk to you afterwards about putting some other things, talking about the budget a little bit. But
Yes, we are entering into budget season now.
Yeah.
So it's a good time to.
now on all these people that you have listed here, can I get a whether they're Class A drivers, and then also what equipment experience they have, like if they have
I have
the
that in, I forgot to print them off, but I have them
Yeah,
back on
We
my
sent
computer.
that to the clerk already, just like you'd asked.
okay,
Yeah, so the clerk has that.
okay, yeah,
The
I'd like
new
to
person on here?
No,
yeah, and I agree. We do have the funding is there, and that's what's nice. So we're not worried about the funding part of it.
Yeah.
But how are we going to get these two things to mesh so that we don't end up with the same problem we've had for years here, where one is underpaid compared to the other?
Well, I think what we can do is, we can work with roads. Now, the argument that is before us is really the Class A, and I intend that I'm not so sure that I agree with the roads department. I want more information. We've heard from them, but are they seasoned? Were they truck drivers before? Are they seasoned? What? So I would really like to discuss that further, because I'm not going to take one instant and say that the CDL A drivers is just a medical, because I heard that we needed seasoned drivers. So we really need to look at that. I understand roads has a problem with that, but we need to investigate that further, and it may not be a problem. I just want to make sure that hear their side of it and your side of it so that we can decide as a board that, hey, you know,
I think
It's
what I
needed.
was asking is what would be the best mechanism to get that to happen so that we can hear both sides and honestly getting the two together, whether it's in a side meeting or in this meeting, and having an intelligent discussion between the leadership in both departments would probably help.
yeah, I that's what I thought we were gonna do. So, yeah, let's do that. Let's have another meeting and have Jessica and one of her managers or supervisors that feel differently about the raise come in, and then we'll talk about it.
Do you want to have just a meeting with Public Works, or do you want
Now, these guys too, have everybody together.
Yeah.
Have one more meeting. And then I think, you know, I haven't had time to go over this with the Public Works part of it, but, you know, I can do that too by the next.
So we've got, every meeting that we've had on this, I have given you guys this sheet, so I know you have it.
But
So-
I'll ask the clerk for the
Okay.
I
rest
can
of
email
the
it to you when
equipment.
I get back.
Yeah, because that's going to help. Because
Yeah.
just the figures, I'm not going to know that.
Yeah,
this guy
for
works
sure.
in, so. Okay. Do we have any other questions?
No?
Questions? Concerns? Or
Do you think the best format for this first meeting would be a meeting with all three of us? Or do you think it would be better to get these guys together and come up with a proposal and bring it to the board? Or do you want to just brainstorm it right here with the three commissioners?
what's everybody's thoughts about that?
What do you think, Richard? What would be the fastest way to the solution?
Well, I think we all know there's no fast way here. I mean, this has been drug out so far already. You know, honestly, I think it would probably be best. I mean, if nothing else, just me and Jessica.
Okay.
You know, we can, you know, and try to come to agreement, and then make a meeting where, you know, all four of us can sit down with the three of you, or, you know, whoever, you know, but, I mean, I think this has been drug out long enough.
Yeah,
You
and,
know,
and
I would like to see an end to it.
well, and the other thing is too is if we went with these figures, does the budget cover it right now in your payroll?
We looked into that last 2 weeks ago, last meeting, and the budget would need to be reopened.
Okay.
And I was under the impression that's what was going to happen between last meeting and this meeting. I was under the impression that you guys were going to meet with the clerk, get it all, and that's why
Well, we
sent
started
that.
getting complaints, so I wanted to just make sure that we don't
Gotcha.
have problems, because we just got out of that problem
Yeah.
around.
I mean, and I understand, you know, I understand different departments are, you know, under different, I don't know how to put it, but the fact is our budget supports it.
I understand that. Yep.
And my guys deserve it.
I would agree.
Yeah, and I don't think the idea that we need to bring it up like we've been talking to equal is, I don't think that's in dispute. I think what's in dispute is, let's figure out what's fair and equal so we don't end up with the same problem in another department. This is a setback for a few days, but this is not a change of thinking.
Yeah.
On my part, I still think we need to bring solid waste up to a fair.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
you've still got the recruiting problem and none of that's changed.
Yeah.
We just need to be careful that we don't solve this one and then create another one if there's a way to avoid creating a second one. So I would suggest that we schedule our meeting after he and Jessica have talked and see if that helps or not. But then we schedule a meeting with both departments.
Okay.
But with the idea that these guys talk before that public meeting, just because I think you can get more done.
Yeah.
The departmental.
Okay. I would agree.
And I'm happy to sit in that or just let you two talk.
Yep.
Okay. Do you want to schedule this meeting for another one, schedule it out so that we have it?
Sure.
Should we go 2 weeks?
How quick do you think you and Jessica could get together if we plan something next week?
I'd go 1 week.
I would go next week because my vacation starts on the 10th.
Okay, so the
So-
next week would have to be a Wednesday, right?
Yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday.
So we can do Wednesday.
Okay, the second.
Yep, if you can get with Jessica, and then also I want you to get with the clerk to make sure that that's in the realm of what they're paying as well. So, all right.
Yep.
All right. I appreciate it. Anything further? Public comment?
Yes, there is a difference on this Class A. The roads department might have to have their Class A a few times a year. These guys are using it 5 days a week, maybe twice a day to cross interstate. I got a CDLA Class A. I'm not hiring out though. I'd much rather drive around here in the valley than driving over to Missoula with the responsibility and the stress of pulling the trailer behind me than only needing a CDL Class A 2-3 times a year. There is a difference on, you got the CDL, but how many times do you actually have to have a CDL Class A?
Mm-hmm.
These guys have to have it all the time.
Yep. I understand that.
Yeah.
For sure. Anything else? Nothing further. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.